Hey everybody, I have a video here for you today. Now there are a lot of places on my Ancient America list I still have to cover. Some of them are pretty much unknown, but as you see here, I'm starting to fill in my place marks and note all the places I have covered, and some of these places that are located on here I have not covered yet. So if you have a mound site in your area that you don't think I have covered, please leave a comment on this video. But today we are going down to what is called the Cleiman Mound. And I found some stuff on Google Earth here that really shows the value of Google Earth, plus I find it very interesting, and it reminds me of Poverty Point. But right down here, let's just go down to Street View and take a look with pretty much all that can be noticed here from the highway view. As we swing around here, you notice there is pretty much nothing but farm here. Very pretty much the heart of America. And right out here, there is a mound. And when I first saw this, it reminded me a lot of the Adena mounds coming from 2,500 years ago. And this is all that is left. There is no marker, nothing saying the significance of this, but it certainly had value. But near this mound, back in this area and over here, there was an ancient village that goes back at least 2,000 years, 2,500 years probably. But here is the one pic of the mound that I could find online on Wikipedia, and it just makes me wonder, who would ever make a video about a mound of dirt out in the middle of nowhere? Well, I would, because it wasn't just a mound of dirt. If it was just a mound of dirt, it would have eroded away centuries ago. But because I use Google Earth, I was able to find what I was going to show you here in a second. Now here's the Wikipedia article, here's the location. I found this very interesting once I looked on Google Earth, because it says here, the Cleiman Mound and Village Site is a prehistoric archaeological site located near the Mississippi River in Jackson County, Illinois. The site includes an intact burial mound and the remains of a village site. It says the site was added to the National Register of Historic Places on October 18th, 1977. And I know a lot of you have heard of Poverty Point. Well, this place could be very historic. I've heard Poverty Point is a very unique place with those arced earthworks. Well, let me just show you something here on Google Earth. Now here is that burial mound, that Adena mound. The village was supposedly across the little creek here in this area. And you notice here there is an oval impression that you can see. And when there was ancient remains built a long time ago, and then the place gets cleared and stuff is grown, it doesn't grow all the same. What is underneath the soil affects what comes through, and just you can kind of see an oval earthwork type deal right here. And if you go back on the historical imagery, you can kind of make it out in a few shots, but maybe that's where the village was, right here, or part of it. And if you go down right here, there is some things right under the ground in this area that look a little odd, but what really caught my eye, and I was shocked when I saw this, is right over in this area. Just check this out. There are arced earthworks here, and when I first saw this, I mean, this could be Poverty Point I was looking at, and I would not know the difference. But immediately my mind started racing. How far are these earthworks apart? And would a farmer put raised ridges in a arced fashion in his field for any particular reason? You farmers out there, let me know, because I've never seen this in a farm field before. But how far apart are these ridges? Well, let's just measure how far away these ridges are from each other, from the base of them to the base of them. This one looks like about 145 feet. And let's just measure right down here also, maybe about 150 feet. Now here are the ridges at Poverty Point, and these are about 145 feet apart here, the outer ridges. But I always thought Poverty Point was pretty much unique in these ridges, circular ridges going across here. There is some debate whether this was a full circle at one time, but pretty much matches the distance between those ridges on the farm in Illinois. And if you just look at these outer four ridges here, It lines up pretty much exactly. But it just looks so identical to this one area right here. These ridges, 350 meters for the short one, and this longest one maybe stretches for as long as 600 meters. Those are very long. Would have taken a long time to build them, and I see no association with farming. But here from overhead, you can clearly see them, and if you go back on historical imagery, they are there. These are ridges. Would a farmer put ridges in his farmland like that? They are not a natural feature, that is for sure. And then you go over to the neighboring things, and these have been cleared. You go across the street here, and where these houses are, this land has been totally rearranged with the residential properties. But what I thought I'd do, just for the kick of it, is look where one of these ridges would have crossed the road and see if there was anything there. So I pinpointed this one area where this ridge right here, if you were to walk along that, the ridge would keep on going across the street if indeed these are earthworks that were here before the road was. But right across the street, where one of the ridges would have came across, there is a high kind of ridge that goes across there. And then you see it comes down here. Is that associated with what's across the street? Well, I don't know. But here you can see these ridges are barely noticeable. And when the vegetation was still there at Poverty Point, people didn't even notice it who were working there for months and months. They didn't even notice the ridges. So this really reminds me of that. They are spaced apart the same way. Is this another Poverty Point type structure? Well, it certainly looks like it. It matches, but I just don't know. You would never notice these features if you were just standing on the road here. Once again, there's people working at Poverty Point that were there a long time and never noticed the ridges until they were shown overhead photos. Now, I would have never noticed this unless I was being thorough with all these mound sites and had some curiosity and looked around. Google Earth is a great asset. No better proof of it than this video. But I just thought I would show you some historical imagery. This comes from 20 years ago. It's a little weird up on the hill here. Here's the mound right here. This is Highway 3 and 151. This is where this is located. And you can kind of see this is the area where I was showing you with that oval. Seemed to be maybe where that ancient village was. You can kind of make something out there on the historical imagery. And then if you go right down here, you can see the arced earthworks on the property right here. And back to today's view. These are earthworks, man, that really got the mind racing. Is that another Poverty Point? Well, I see no reason why it can't be. I don't think that's ever been talked about or ever been noticed before even. That's a good video here for you today as far as my Ancient America series. Lost history, new discoveries, that's what my channel is all about. But I'm going to fill in the rest of this with all the ancient mound sites I can. If you have some here that you don't see on this map or you don't think I have covered, please leave them in the comments section. But I think that's a pretty big discovery right there. Hope you thought that was cool. And you all have a very nice day.